Are you seeing that we hear so much about the people that have just given up?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Are you seeing a trend where they're starting to creep back into the job market?
Not into the professional market.
Really?
Not
Even though there's such demand?
Especially in IT, because IT changes so fast. I would say, if you don't have recent work experience on your resume, as recent as probably 9 months to a year, I'm going to have a very uphill battle placing you. Very uphill battle. You're probably going to be what we call underemployed at some point, which means you're going to take, like if you're a network manager and say you were unemployed for a year and a half, market or not, so, people are getting placed. There's jobs. There's something, something fishy with that person. In my experience, maybe they are having a hard time. I don't know. Maybe they're interviewing for the wrong job. But a lot of times, they're going to have to take a step back and take more of an entry level job, and then they're underemployed, and then they kind of get swooped back up in the pool. But I know, there's so many people that have completely switched industries, retooled themselves, went back to school. Or just flat gave up, and that happens, and it's tough. It's tough out there. I mean, imagine, you're a hiring manager, you have two folks sitting in front of you. You like them both, but one guy's been working the last year and a half, and his skills are up to date. You're not going to have to train him up, and he's going to walk in the door, and it's a tough gig. It's a tough gig to stay, and that's where you have to kind of take some contracts and volunteer, start your own business. A lot of people do that, and they'll consult, and that looks good because you're doing something. You got to make yourself employable.
Yeah.
So here's some salaries that we see growing within the specifically the IT field, and these are always skills that we can see growing year to year by anywhere up to 12%. Cisco network administration, particularly in this market, we see .NET and C# and SQL Server. So those are the big high points that we see in this market, and those are the areas where candidates are asking for and getting top dollar. In the bigger markets, these folks are getting huge bonuses and sign-on bonuses and perks and other stuff. I'll give you a number. Microsoft SQL Server DBAs, they have an unemployment percentage right now of 0.1%. So trying to find one, it's like, let me tell you, I have a couple openings looking for DBAs, and they're just not around. And how do I attract them? I have to find a company that's willing to pay a little bit more, come up with some different benefits and things like that.
What's so special about SharePoint?
So SharePoint's a collaboration tool of Microsoft's. There's just not a lot of specialists in it. I think a lot of bigger companies will have a SharePoint administrator or a SharePoint developer, and a lot of systems administrators and systems and network engineers will kind of have autonomous skills in that, but there's just not a lot of specialists. So if we see the people that go ahead and niche into that, and they'll become an expert in that and become certified in it, and that's all they do, those folks can demand pretty high rates.
Are you seeing a lot of demand for people with specialists in knowledge management?
We see like learning management systems and stuff like that, but not a lot.
Management?
Not really.
No?
Not a whole lot. I had to come work with a company, Pearson Education in Boston, that had a whole knowledge team, and they had a huge knowledge management group and knowledge engineers and that type of thing. But I would say for the most part, those are going to be your big, probably your big companies. I think a lot of smaller companies might give that off.
In relation to that, the goal was to try to make SharePoint replace configuration management.
No.
I didn't say it would work. I said that's the goal.
Oh no, it has issues.
That their unemployment rate is 0.1% because it has issues. It doesn't work very well. You got to have get guys who can lay hands on it, make it work for you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Are you, because of these numbers, are you seeing on an industry basis a lot more people going into college courses to learn that stuff.
I wish. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be at New Mexico Tech University tomorrow trying to recruit some college grads that have computer science degrees, because I can't find enough, folks in the workforce, quite frankly, that have, some computer science degrees and understand some of the newer technologies that are coming out that some of my clients are asking for. And so, we have to adjust our efforts, and I sit on several panels as well. I'm on the University of New Mexico jobs panel, CNM's jobs panel, these different educational places that I could tell them, like, look, you guys are teaching Fortran and C++, and our employers are asking for Python and Ruby on Rails. Like, what gives? Like, we got to do something here. So it's going to take a collaborative effort between employers and colleges. There's a great program in Albuquerque now. It's called Deep Dive Web Coders, and they're a group that they go and they do a boot camp with some of the latest and greatest. It's a 9-week boot camp of some of the latest and greatest technologies. They're teaching these different JavaScript libraries that are used in the open source software world that they're probably not going to be taught in a college for another 4 or 5 years, and by that time it's going to be something else, and so it's tough.
Well, along those lines, are you seeing the environment, the ecosystem developing here in Mexico so that small and mid-sized businesses will create more industry?
Absolutely. Like I said, I was at the Tech Fiesta on Friday. I was at the we have a new cohabitated incubator, a technology incubator called Fat Pipe that opened up in downtown. So there's a lot of movement in the private industry in Albuquerque. Now the problem is, can we keep it here? Can we keep those candidates here? Can we keep the companies here? Because a lot of them, are working on a national basis. And one of my best friends is a software developer for Uber. I don't know if you guys have heard of Uber, but it's the app that you can, if you have a little too much, they'll come pick you up and it's all on your phone, and you pay them on your phone and all that stuff. And they're based out of Oakland, and he's working here in Albuquerque. So we have to be able to attract and retain that talent in Albuquerque. So it is growing. I'm very confident. Of course, we have this the main players that we work with in the private public industry, like P&M, Presbyterian, Molina, some of the places that service those. But there are countless small and medium-sized businesses that are growing here, and that's I think the bread and butter of our business. There's a lot of little software companies, which is good. I'm actually working with a software development firm now that does driving records, and this is great, but they just opened up a quality assurance, a software testing division. In software, the first people to go are technical writers and software testers, because
and then the quality people right behind them.
Yeah, and then they just make the developers do it all, which is wrong, right? That'd be like me when I was driving a race car to go and or working on airplanes to go inspect the work I just did. It doesn't work. But it's something they can kind of trim. And so when we see companies adding positions like that, technical writing, quality, testers, that we see growth, and that's good.
There has been a real tendency in the last, say, 20 years, and I'll say that, I have a contract workforce that's contracted out of Huntsville and McLean, Virginia.
Yeah.
And my junior safety guy has been junior safety guy in his company since 1998. And he hasn't been promoted, but they have taken 3 levels of management out of that company. And so still working, same shop, same desk, still working for me for 8 years now. But there's nobody under him.
Yeah.
There's nobody more junior in the company. There's nobody has been brought in. And they've gone through the cycle a couple of times of, you know, unload the testers, unload the quality people. And they go off and they find other engineering jobs, you know, sell cars or whatever. Now, you don't find one. You have to look around here. You know, you don't see very many in the chip 25 to even say 25 to 45 group.
Yeah.
In the special engineering disciplines, there aren't any. How do you fill when all of a sudden they say, "Oh, we need a bunch"?
Tough. It is.
There could be 10 junior quality engineers.
Right. Yeah. And that is the challenge that I'm having. You know, I can't find these folks, and you know, and now the company's talking about outsourcing, you know, to like India or something. So you have to deal with that. You know, and so, you know, what do? You know, it's tough. You know, and that was the problem. A couple slides back, we talked about, you know, the growth is happening. You know, there's jobs. It's just, you know, that unemployment rate. It's not. I don't think we have a jobs problem. We have a training problem. We have a candidate problem. You know, we have people that don't. You know, I don't know what they want to do. They don't want to, you know, work in high tech or quality. You know, it's what it seems like. Or something. You know, it must be. I don't know. Maybe your taxes are too high. I don't know. You know. In demand certifications. I know you folks, most of you folks here have you know, industry certifications. You know, if anything, I think that it's, you know, these. Yeah, it shows this, right? It shows, okay, he knows how to do this. He's done it. He's gone through a task or whatever, and he has initiative. But I think the big thing that it shows is that you're dedicated to lifelong learning in your field of trade, and that's what people want to see. You know, there's no such thing really, and there is, but there isn't. You know, tenure comes and goes. You know, job security is not that great anymore. You know, there's mergers and acquisitions and sequestration and this and recruiters and everything else. And you know, the only thing that you could do is be dedicated to being a lifelong learner in your field of trade. So certifications, I put the high stamp on. You know, people ask me, should I get them? And I'm like, why wouldn't you? It's not going to hurt you to get it. Like, it costs $300 or $400 or whatever it is, depending on the cert. But you know, you can't do anything but help.